Today I will teach you a few yoga practices to increase insulin sensitivity in type 1 diabetes. Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Evan, and here I share how to end the stress and restrictions of type 1 diabetes management. I use yoga practices, including poses, breathing practices, and meditation to reduce and transform stress. They help me be more adaptive to stress and therefore more resilient to stress. With type 1 diabetes, it's like our world revolves around insulin. And because we produce insufficient, or for many, no insulin at all, part of our type 1 diabetes management strategy should be in increasing our insulin sensitivity so that the insulin we take works more efficiently. The less insulin someone needs to correct a high number or to cover their meal, the easier it is for type 1 diabetes to manage it. I know for myself, if I'm insulin resistant, it's harder for me to anticipate how certain foods or certain activities are going to affect my blood sugar levels. Why? Because my insulin is not being utilized properly if I'm insulin resistant. When this happens, type 1 diabetes becomes even more challenging and draining. We can get stuck in the roller coaster of highs and lows with dramatic peaks and valleys. These spikes are physically and mentally exhausting. And now, I'm not saying to stop eating carbohydrates or that you need to take less insulin. I am suggesting that there are integrative strategies to help reduce insulin resistance and increase insulin sensitivity that maybe you're not considering. One of the invisible culprits of insulin resistance in both type 1 and type 2 diabetes is chronic stress. For me, I use yoga practices, including poses, breathing practices, and meditation to reduce and transform stress. They help me be more adaptive to stress and therefore more resilient to stress. Leave a comment and tell me about what helps you manage stress and protect your insulin sensitivity. Today I'm going to teach you one yoga pose that helps to increase insulin sensitivity. It's called Utkatasana, or chair pose, and we're going to practice it dynamic and static. And what's so amazing about chair is that it utilizes large class muscles, like the ones in your legs, your back, and your core. These are muscles that require more energy. The more energy that's required from a muscle, the less insulin your body needs to maintain blood sugar balance. And this is why exercise is an important pillar of type 1 diabetes management. So for instance, if I notice my blood glucose is spiking up after a meal, for instance, I'll use chair pose and dynamic chair to potentiate the insulin that I've taken. So to practice chair, you're just going to come to a standing position with your feet slightly separated. And I want you to bring your hands by your side. We're going to go slow this first round because I want you to go into this intentionally. So you're just going to begin to bend your knees while you simultaneously sit your butt back and glide your hands down your legs to your ankles. Now, keeping your pelvis low and the knees bent, try to lean back as much as you can so you start to feel your quads and your back working. Draw the navel in so you're super integrated, and you're going to lift your arms up and overhead. Now from here, exhale, lower the hands down. On the inhale, lift the hands this time. Feel that same elevation of the torso, keeping the hips low, and then exhale, return the hands down. So you can move in and out of this many times. I would recommend moving in and out at least 10 times. Make sure that you're breathing smoothly and that you're not forcing your air out. The slower you can go with an adequate breath, the more efficient this movement's going to be. Now, if it's challenging for you to lift the torso with the arms overhead, you can do the same movement just by keeping the arms down by the sides at the legs. After 10 or 12 rounds, you can come all the way up and repeat that about 3 or 4 times. Another strategy as well is to intensify this is after you do the movement in and out is to stay and hold. Any arm variation here is fine. Of course, arms overhead is going to require more work for the body. And you stay for as many breaths as you can. I would say at least 4 to 6. And encourage your breath to move in the torso. And you'll start to build some intensity internally in the body. Now, doing that just for a couple of breaths, I feel already a greater sense of circulation and warmth in my body. So it's similar to doing any type of exercise, but what's so cool about a posture intervention like that is it's short and it's effective. It's like doing a yoga snack in the middle of your day. So the next time you notice your blood sugar is spiking up or you're running a little bit insulin resistant, like hovering at 200 and you can't get your numbers down, try doing an intervention of that. Doing 10 to 12 rounds dynamic, holding for several breaths, resting for a few breaths, and then repeating 3 or 4 times. A route to increase insulin sensitivity with yoga is by turning on the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic acts like the brakes to the body's stress response. In normal, non-type 1 diabetic physiology, when the body's in the parasympathetic, it's producing insulin. Therefore, by regulating the nervous system towards the parasympathetic regularly, we can help the internal processes absorb our injected insulin. And you can do this in practice by lengthening your exhale and using postures that help to encourage the exhale. So let's experiment with Chakravakasana. You're going to come to all fours. Hands under shoulders, knees under the hips. Inhale, lift your chin away from the chest and lengthen the front of the body. Exhale, draw the navel in, round your low back and shift your pelvis back. Lower the torso down, soften the elbows and relax the head. On the inhale, come back up to the starting position. Now we're going to increase the length of the exhale. So go back, please, for the count of 4. You can always exhale out your mouth if needed. Inhale, come back up. Exhale for the count of 5. Inhale, return. Nice and slow. Exhale, the count of 6. So as we lengthen the exhale, you're not exhaling out more air. You're just slowing down the rate at which you're exhaling. Exhale, 7 counts. And exhale, 8 counts. You can practice this exercise on an empty stomach, and the more regularly you do it, it will train your body's stress response systems to be more efficient and resilient to the impact of stress and subsequent insulin sensitivity. If you're enjoying this content, subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video. Another strategy for increasing insulin sensitivity with yoga is working with postures that stimulate the abdomen, principally on the hold after the exhalation. Contracting and releasing the abdominal muscles mimics intestinal motility, i.e., the movement of your intestines that support elimination and absorption of nutrients. If you suffer from conditions like gastroparesis or delayed stomach release, it's hard for you to anticipate your insulin needs. This strategy is useful. It's called movement on suspension. To do it, you're going to come to all fours. From all fours, take a breath in and lift the collarbone and chin. Stay here and exhale. Draw the navel in. Holding the breath out, slowly shift your hips back. Lower the torso towards the thighs, and then release your head to the ground. When it's time, inhale, come back up to the starting position slowly without hurry or gasping for air. You'll stay here and exhale. Navel contracts, holding the breath out. Go as slow as you can. Lowering down. When it's time to inhale, come up and relax your stomach. That's what's helping to mimic the contract and release. Let's do a few more here. When you're going back in that breath suspension, feels kind of like you're hollowing out your stomach. When you come up, feel the stomach abdominal region soften and relax. Try this movement out first thing in the morning on an empty stomach and do it regularly to notice a benefit. I know how frustrating it is to be experiencing insulin resistance with type 1 diabetes. It's like you have double diabetes. Not only do you not produce insulin, but the insulin you inject is not working efficiently. And there are yoga practices that can help with increasing your insulin sensitivity. One yoga practice is a breathing practice that focuses on an abdominal inhale and a slow exhalation. This breathing practice turns on the parasympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system, the branch of our nervous system that turns off the stress response, and in non-type 1s, it produces insulin. I recommend doing this work regularly to improve your adaptability and resilience to stress, which will help in turn increase insulin sensitivity. To do this exercise, find a comfortable seat, or you can lie down comfortably on your back. You're going to place one hand at your belly. Actually, place both hands at your belly. It's a good place to be. And just take a nice breath in, and as you do so, let your abdomen soften into your hands. So it's almost like you let the abdomen relax first and then inhale. Then you're going to exhale from the space where your hands are at. And feel the abdomen drawing in towards the spine. Inhale, let the abdomen relax first, then inhale. Exhale from the abdomen. Navel draws in slowly. Relax the abdomen first and inhale into that space. It's like you're sticking out your tummy. Exhale from the navel. Draw it in. Now, once you have this shape change down, you can begin to add a count to the breath. So we're going to inhale into the abdomen for a count of 4, and then exhale for a count of 8. Let's try it together. Inhale, relax your abdomen, count to 4 as you inhale. Exhale, contract the abdomen, count to 8. Inhale, count of 4. Exhale, count of 8. Try a few more on your own. Visualize the breath moving down, softening the abdomen on the inhale, the abdomen drawing in on the exhale, the breath moving out of the body. The chest is still, the abdomen is soft. Right, so that's just a sampler. I'd love to hear your comments. Tell me how that felt. I noticed just after a few minutes of that, I feel a shift internally. So I'd love to hear what that was like for you. That's a tool you can use forever. 1 to 2 breathing. If 4 in, 8 out is too much, do 3 in, 6 out. If you're having a hard time exhaling, pursing your lips like this, and exhaling slowly with the mouth open is another alternative. I have a student with adult onset type 1 diabetes who was struggling to lose weight and lower her A1C. She had chronic digestive distress, gas, and bloating after meals. On paper, it looked like she was doing everything right, so no wonder her medical team didn't really have many suggestions for her. She was eating well, she was exercising and dosing appropriately, and also correcting for her highs and lows. But her numbers were spiky, and when they elevated, it would take hours, if not days, to come down. Despite her efforts, her weight and A1C would not budge no matter what she tried. She told me about her stressful work life, being the owner and CEO of a large company, a mom of 2 kids, 2 dogs, and a lot of travel. When I asked about her exercise routine, she told me it was all high-intensity cardio, meaning she was always pushing herself to the max. She rationalized it by saying that her body needed it. If she didn't do it, she was going to gain weight, and she also needed it to manage her anxiety. And then when I asked her about her insulin to carb ratio, I was shocked to hear how high it was. So for starters, I asked her to change her exercise routine 3 days a week to low intensity cardio, where she was working out only at 60 to 70% of her heart rate maximum. This is called zone 2 training. It's basically a fat burning zone. We added rest days where she practiced yoga therapy, focusing on practices that would downregulate her nervous system and promote relaxation. As for diet, we added more plant-based nutrition, replacing some of the hard-to-digest meat and dairy products with fresh, cooked vegetables and spiced flavors. Over time, she started to feel better physically, energetically, and mentally, and she needed less insulin to cover her meals. She also started to lose the weight that she was holding on to and stopped thinking that she needed to push herself harder to achieve her goals. So if this story resonates with you, please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel so you help me spread the message of holistic living to more people with type 1 diabetes. I'm at your service. Namaste.